Hello, this is Oxford, the city of dreaming spires and a rather wonderful historic university town. Let's take a look. Oxford is a city with amazing history and architecture. Its more recent reputation is somewhat tarnished by the fact it has given the UK some of its most controversial leaders and politicians, but let's not dwell on that. Here is a brief history before we get started. Oxford started as a Saxon settlement, its name coming from Oxenford, as in a place where cows can cross the river. In this case it's the River Thames, which runs through and onto London. Oxford rose to prominence in medieval times as it became the location of the world's second oldest university, and it is that university that shapes the city today, filling it with hundreds of historic buildings, and if you get a Hogwarts vibe, it's because Oxford was a source of inspiration for those books, and was also used as a location for the films. In modern times, the city has a population of about 166,000 residents, with about 26,000 students. The city is less than an hour from London on train from Paddington Station, making it an ideal day trip. However, the city has a lot to see and do, so it's worth spending at least 2 days here. Anyway, enough of my waffling, let's have a look at the top 10, including a little bonus location with a great view, so stay tuned to the end for that. First up, let's have a quick look at the historic city centre. It is compact and walkable. In fact, everything in this guide can be walked to. Every street is full of shops, restaurants and overflowing with historic buildings. Aside from the various university colleges, some of the highlights of the city centre include the Martyrs' Memorial, which is a monument to 3 bishops who were burned at the stake in the 16th century. Youch! Also, not to be missed in the city centre is St Michael at Northgate Church, where you can climb the tower for some lovely views. The main street in Oxford is the High Street, which is full of amazing historic buildings. I mean, just look at it, it's stunning. And if shopping is more your thing, then check out Queen Street or Cornmarket Street. Our next location is Christ College, which is one of the more famous colleges of the university, containing a large campus, Oxford Cathedral and some Harry Potter locations. Christ Church was founded in 1546 by King Henry VIII. You know the one. The big fella that had a tendency to cut off the heads of his wives. As well as royalty, 13 prime ministers have studied here, as well as countless other famous high-ranking politicians, scientists, philosophers, authors, doctors and many more. Due to its immense popularity, it gets very busy, so you might have to book a time slot if visiting at peak times. The small admission fee is definitely worth it, as there is a lot to see. The Bodleian Tower staircase is one of the most recognisable parts due to it featuring in a few Harry Potter films. Built in Gothic style with an elegant central pillar supporting a lovely fan-vaulted ceiling, it is a wonderful space. At the top of the stairs is a famous dining hall, which will immediately make you think of Hogwarts. Although no filming took place, it's quite clearly a big inspiration for the film. It still gets used today, so try and imagine all those students crowded in here for dinner wearing their formal gowns. Oxford Cathedral is also located in Christ Church. This magnificent building was built toward the end of the 12th century in the Romanesque style. However, it has been altered over the centuries and is now a mixture of styles. Attached to the cathedral are some lovely cloisters which are also used in some Harry Potter films. The exterior spaces of the college are also magnificent, especially the main quadrangle known as Tom Quad, named after the bell in the stunning tower which was designed by the famous architect Sir Christopher Wren. And hidden away at the back of the site is another impressive outside space known as Peckwater Quad. The third location is the University Church of St Mary the Virgin. Although founded much earlier, the main body of the current church was rebuilt in perpendicular Gothic style in the 15th and 16th centuries. It's a really fascinating and wonderful looking building. The interior is bright and airy and full of amazing details and decorations, so take some time to have a wander around. However, the main attraction is the tower, which can be climbed for a small fee, and I highly recommend this as it will give you some of the best and most famous views of Oxford, notably over the next location in our list, which is right next door. Just outside the church is our fourth location, the Radcliffe Camera Library. Designed by James Gibbs in Baroque style, it was built between 1737 and 1749. It is perhaps the most iconic building in Oxford. As part of the Bodleian Library, it can only be visited as part of a guided tour, and only then on a few select days each week. And sadly for me, this was already fully booked for the entire season when I had a look. So, as far as I can tell, if you want to go, make sure you book very, very far in advance to be sure to get a ticket. There are, of course, other buildings that can be visited, and some famous rooms such as the Divinity School, which is another Harry Potter film location. Even if you don't manage to get inside, the area around the library is stunning, with amazing historic buildings on all sides. And also nearby is the famous Hertford Bridge, which links two wings of Hertford College and is more usually called the Bridge of Sighs due to its similarity to the famous Bridge of Sighs in Venice. There is more to Oxford than just its university. It also has a few really excellent museums. The most famous is the Ashmolean, which is the oldest public museum in England and was established in 1683. The current building is a little newer and was built between 1841 and 1845 in neoclassical style, and looks amazing. The collection inside is vast and varied. In one part you can find amazing paintings by old Italian masters next door to rooms with paintings by Flemish masters. And there are also paintings by Picasso, Titian, Cézanne, Constable Turner and many other famous European artists. For those of you who admire British art, the museum has one of the best collections of pre-Raphaelite art to admire, including this really extravagant bookcase, which was made by William Bergs in 1862 and is adorned with paintings by many of the leading pre-Raphaelite artists. And if that is not enough, there is also an extensive archaeology collection with many artifacts from all over the world, including ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, Japan, China, and many other places. There's so much to see here, it's really hard to take it all in. Overall, I rate the Ashmolean as one of the best museums in the UK. And even better, general admission to the main collections is free of charge. Location number 6 is Magdalen College, or Magdalen College as it's known locally. This was founded in 1458. Over the centuries, the college has had many famous students and professors, including royalty, world leaders, politicians, scientists, as well as literary figures such as Oscar Wilde and C.S. Lewis. The site of Magdalen College is very large and includes some impressive historic buildings, as well as a park. It can be visited for a small fee and is definitely worth it. The coolest part is the cloisters, which was constructed in the 15th century, but with many later modifications. These are really pleasant to wander around and take in the views of the historic facades. From the cloisters you can reach the dining room, which is still in use today for students, so might not always be accessible, but if you're lucky enough to go in, you'll have a good idea of how lucky the students are to have access to such a great place for snacks. There is also a stunning Gothic chapel which is still in use today. On the north side of the site is the new building, which is a grand neoclassical building built between 1731 to 1824 and is mainly used as accommodation. As well as the amazing historic buildings, there are also tranquil gardens and green spaces aplenty. Next to the college is Magdalen Bridge, and from here you can go punting on the traditional boats along the river. Britain's oldest botanic gardens are also located here and are opposite the college. All this history and grand architecture has probably made you very hungry, so fret not, as Oxford is full of places to eat. The standout location, of course, being both historical and architecturally interesting, is the Oxford Covered Market. It was officially opened back in 1774 and today contains a great variety of stalls and shops. The various aisles are full of great food places where you can find lots of tasty looking treats. I visited on a Sunday when many of them were closed and it was a little quiet, but there was still plenty to choose from. Not too far from the market is location number 8, which is Carfax Tower. This 23-metre high tower is all that remains of an old church. The tower can be climbed for a small fee. On the way up you'll squeeze up some very tight spiral staircases to access the roof, which has really stunning panoramic views over Oxford. Definitely worth it, so make sure you don't miss this great location and be sure to bring your camera. Another of Oxford's great museums is the Oxford University Museum of Natural History, which is actually two museums joined together, both of which are free, which is great. The Natural History Museum is housed in a neo-Gothic building that was built in the 1850s with consultation from famous art critic John Ruskin. The interior has a stunning main hall with a huge iron and glass ceiling, which is perfect for housing large specimens. The highlights of course being dinosaurs, including a cast of a T-Rex. As well as dinosaurs, there are thousands of other specimens, some of which are very old, as this place is properly historical. Attached to the museum is another museum, the Pitt Rivers Museum. You can enter both without having to go outside. The Pitt Rivers Museum was founded in 1884 by Augustus Pitt Rivers, who donated his collection. And what a collection! Just look at this room, it's vast and there are thousands of things to look at over 3 floors. Some highlights include the Haida totem pole, which is 11 meters high. On the top floor there is a fantastic collection of military weapons and armor spanning the centuries. Overall, these two museums are a really fantastic location, so really do set aside enough time to have a good look around. Location number 10 is just across the road from the museums and is another of the university's famous colleges. This one is a little different due to it being established in 1870 and being built in a rather ornate and wonderful neo-Gothic style with red bricks, so it has a totally different feel than the older sandstone buildings that you will have seen everywhere else in Oxford, and this makes for a really pleasant change of pace. The site is formed of a few large open quadrangles and it was free to enter. The space is really lovely and I was lucky to have such good weather with the sunlight bringing out the amazing colour of the stunning architecture. The only interior I was allowed to visit was the elaborate chapel. This large space is wonderfully decorated and covered in colourful frescoes that are illuminated by equally colourful stained glass windows. It is really stunning. There is also a famous painting in here somewhere called The Light of the World by William Holman Hunt, but alas I missed it as it was in a side chapel, so don't make the same mistake I did and seek it out. So that's the top 10, but I promised a bonus location with an amazing view. Here it is. Located a good 10 minutes walk from Magdalen College is a large green space known as South Park. Although I tried, I could not find Carlton Kenny or any of the gang. The park is located on Headington Hill and the main reason to come here is to take in these breathtaking views over the city. From here you get a great view of the spires and towers of the city, so of course I had to record a time lapse. That's it, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what other awesome places there are in Oxford. Thanks for watching, cheerio!